for the 26th day of June, 2024. A lot of stuff to talk about. Um, Everything from what's going on domestically to confrontations all around the world. And that indeed is what is happening, confrontations all around the world. Before we get to the confrontations around the world, a little bit of levity, if you will. Um, Bill Belichick and his girlfriend. Uh, Belichick, well, let's just give this a quick listen.
So far. You remember this past year when Bill Belichick went viral for sneaking out on Ring camera? Well, we found out why. He was sneaking out of his 24-year-old girlfriend's home. And the story of Bill Belichick's Riz is phenomenal. Apparently, Jordan Hudson and Bill Belichick first met each other when Bill was giving her an autograph. And the autograph read, "Jordan, thanks for giving me a course on logic. Safe travels, Bill Belichick." And check out this flex. The man autographed the book and listed all of his Super Bowls. They stayed in contact after they bumped into each other. And after Bill split with Linda Holiday, they became romantic. During Tom Brady's induction ceremony, Linda Holiday posted this to her story. "You are the embodiment of virtue, dedication, humility, and grace. I am deeply moved by you." Like him or hate him, you have to admit that Bill Belichick's post-coaching career has been absolutely wild so far.
So, again, a little bit of levity there. Bill Belichick, I think he is 72 and she is 24. I think there's a 48-year gap, I believe. And kind of crazy. I once, when I was in my early 40s, dated somebody that was 23, and there was obviously a 20-year gap, and it was way too big of a gap, just as far as, well, anyway. So, a little levity to start things out. Again, thank you for clicking on. Thanks for hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the share, all of that stuff. And let's get back to what's going on around the world, because there is quite a bit happening, both domestically and abroad. And in my personal opinion, as somewhat of a historian, when history looks back at the beginning of World War III, I'm going to say that they will declare that World War III actually started when Russia invaded Ukraine. That is going to play a significant part in what we talk about tonight. Of course, we got the big map up, map of the world, Ukraine, Russia. We're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about Libya and Algeria. We're going to be talking about Bolivia. We're going to be talking about Haiti. And of course, we're going to be talking about the United States. We're going to be talking about the two Koreas, and quite a bit, actually, we're going to be talking about. So let's get to that and jump over to the, hold on just a second. I hit the wrong button there. Jump over to the bookmarks, if you give me just a second. I do have something, information coming out of Russia has been really sparse ever since, ever since about 3 months after the invasion. When the invasion first started, the Ukraine-Iraq war first started, a lot of information was coming out of Russia. Then not so much information coming out of Russia. This is some information coming out of Russia. The Russian government is about to change the game. The source says Russia is a nuclear power and they are about to act like it. NATO should prepare itself for what has started, and no one can say that Russia was not provoked. So, information I think needs to be out there, and information I think people ought to be aware of. So again, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the share. We're going to be on here for a bit. Feel free to hop in the chat if you are watching live. If you're watching on delay at your convenience, thank you as well for clicking on. All right, this is closed circuit television footage of the incident that happened on the Crimean beach when and what has basically spurred the announcement I just gave from Russia that that this attack specifically was the United States um, responsibility, from providing the weapons to guiding the weapons to the weapons exploding. And as you can see, if you look out over the ocean, you can see many of the bomblets. I think there were over 150. Many of the bomblets landed in the ocean and not on the beach. Things would have been a lot worse. 150 people injured and 4 people dead from this attack. And um, I'm showing it and drawing attention to it because it has tremendous significance in that the United States is saying this was a missile malfunction and this was not supposed to happen. And Russia is saying that, you know, this is why this footage is out. Russia is saying that this shows it wasn't a malfunction. This shows that the bomblets were distributed vertically, basically straight up and down into the target area as the missile is supposed to perform. So again, things could quickly escalate. Russia has promised retaliation. We will see what happens. Kenyan police were firing live rounds at protesters in the capital of Nairobi yesterday, and also Kenyan troops were landing in Haiti yesterday. Also yesterday, this came out from Donald Trump saying that he was sort of like a hot guy. He was hot as a pistol, and that he thinks he's hotter than he is now and after he became president. And he said, I don't know. I said to somebody, was I hotter before or hotter now? I don't. The guy is freaking delusional. Um, this isn't The Apprentice. This isn't Epstein Island. Again, Kenya in the news a lot over the past couple of days, and still in the news today. And we'll get to that. I'm going to bypass this. This is an absolute very cool, cool video, but I got a bunch of stuff tonight, including this: Hillary Clinton inquiring if they couldn't just drone Assange and eliminate him. Crazy. Hillary Clinton proposed a drone strike on Julian Assange back in 2010. Again, the attacks on the United States have commenced. There have been some cyber attacks, and the attack on the dollar as a monetary force in the world is well underway, as we've pointed out on this program many times. They are calling it de-dollarization, looking for the end of King Dollar. They're wanting to devalue the U.S. currency, and again, they are working incredibly hard to do it. Russia declaring that with their trade with Belarus, they have 92% of the payments in their own national currencies, 90% with China, and more than half with India. So removing the dollar as a desired means of trade will inherently lessen the value of the dollar, because it will mean there are more dollars on the market. supply and demand, basic economics. Um, United Nations, the head of the UNRWA reported on the 25th that Israel bombed another United Nations school in Gaza, bringing the total number of UN premises attacked by Israel to 190. This is somebody you're going to see in the Olympics. She is from China, and I think she's 7'4", 16-year-old, 7'5", female basketball player, Zhang Ziyu, Zhang Ziyu, and you can tell playing against other Chinese women, she is, you know, I don't know. So maybe the United States not having Caitlin Clark will somehow come back to bite them with all that's going on with all that. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. This is Russia's United Nations ambassador who called today for once again called for immediate ceasefires in Gaza and the stopping of the destruction of Palestinian homes in the East Bank and in the east part of Jerusalem, I should say, and in the West Bank. Russia's UN ambassador was asked the question, Russia's aim is to rape, pillage, and abduct in Ukraine. Do you think you achieved this aim? And the ambassador replied, this is the information war, and Ukraine is winning. We are not doing what Israel does in Gaza. So didn't really answer, sidestepped it, and deflected. All right, this is our cool video for the night. My chance to get a drink here in the first little segment and take a 27-second break. I just found this video incredibly cool. This is and I got make sure the music is not playing. This is juggling from looking at juggling from overhead. I just thought this was really cool. All right, there we go. Our little break from really incredibly potentially dangerous, serious stuff with some juggling. In case you're just joining us, we mentioned earlier that that Kenya has sent troops to Port-au-Prince. The United States is paying for all of this, and they're there to help police fight the gangs, as they are labeled. It's difficult to say. The report says it's difficult to say what is responsible for the reduction in violence, and the police went into action very quickly after the Kenyans began to arrive. We'll show that coming up. Once again, here's another look at that video from Sevastopol on the island of Crimea, and you can see definitively the pattern of bomblets as it came down, and this is going to come into question. It's going to come into debate and responsibility, and that's why this video is going to be very significant in history, I'm afraid, because it does indeed give the impression that okay, this is the reason I've got this is because the footage from the strike looks like the bomblets triggered vertically, exactly the way they're supposed to be released by the missile, not debris or a malfunction, as the United States has claimed. So, again, that's what the Russian side is showing. China has called for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza as well. And this is what's going on in South Africa. Newly elected South African Minister of Parliament, Andile Mngitama, openly calls for the genocide of white South Africans, saying, quote, "We will kill the white man's children. We will kill their women. We will kill anything that we find in our way." This is just to show you the attitudes around the world. Speaking of which, I'm just going to let you listen to this. This is the Ukrainian Minister of Parliament, and the person you see here is doing the interview, and let's just listen.
I've got defense analysts feeding me information, and they're in, services, and they're saying that there is going to be a nuclear detonation in Europe.
Who by?
Well, it could be a dirty bomb. I mean, there's a lot of nuclear material floating around in Ukraine from their nuclear reactors. I mean, to create contamination, all you need is some conventional explosives and some nuclear material, and you've got a dirty bomb. They may have already been set off in the Donbass area now.
And that could be the false flag that starts the war.
Yeah, there's many ways it can be done.
Like 9/11.
Like 9/11. I've got defense analysts feeding me information, and they're in, services, and they're saying that there is going to be a nuclear detonation in Europe.
Okay, so I don't know if this is propaganda. I do know this is Andrew Bridgen, the member of Parliament in the United Kingdom, and he says that defense or that intelligence analysts from Great Britain are telling him there is going to be a dirty bomb or there's going to be a nuclear bomb of some sort in a European city. And he said that there might have already been dirty bomb explosions in the Donbass in Ukraine. Israel's begun preparations to set up a large emergency warehouses to supply food in wartime. Talks are also underway that Starlink, Elon Musk, to provide internet in the event that Hezbollah destroys the entire electricity grid. This comes from the Jerusalem Post. Israel's preparing for war, and not against Gaza, not against Hamas, but war against Hezbollah, which is in Lebanon, and also war against Iran. If you don't believe me, hang with me for a few minutes. We'll get to another clip. This is just bizarre. This is just this is something you might see only on the American Doofus channel.
Here we have the lovely couple of the Keens down in Texas. Mitchell here is a Texas Navy veteran. His wife is a registered nurse. Got a couple kids, a few dogs, nice little family. The neighbors even described them as animal lovers. Well, just so happens that recently Mitchell here followed some children into a supermarket and decided to expose himself. Yes, the police came and confiscated his phone, where they found videos involving children and his wife having sex with a family dog, which is a Great Dane. Pretty on brand for today's Republican Party.
Weird.
Here we
weird. It's not just Republican Party weird. There's weirdness everywhere, but sure seems like there's a lot of it in popping up in Republican ministers and Republican churches, and this is even, there's so much troubling information This is Racism After Dark Live. This is a site on X, formerly known as Twitter, and it is obviously, as it said at the beginning of this. This is an 8-hour, 16-minute, and I'm not gonna dignify it by playing any of it. I'm just gonna let you know it's out there. White people only. Uh, Open Racism After Dark, and it's just it's in racism on from anybody on any spectrum. We should be better, but we're not. We should be past this, but we're not. How much so? Well, West Virginia couple caught forcing their 5 adopted black children back into 1700s chattel slavery. And this is this is all based on court documents. Here's the sergeant explaining how they came to discover what was actually going on at this place in West Virginia. 16-year-old girl, 14-year-old boy. No way to get out of the shed, no running water, no bathroom. Girl told deputies their parents had brought them food around 6 o'clock that morning, but said her and her brother weren't allowed in the house. The most troubling part of all of this is when we get to the end and we find out forfeiture. The couple sold $725,000 80-acre property.
Couple sold a $725,000 80-acre ranch in Washington state and sold their Sissonville home to post bond. And they believe both of these properties were paid for through trafficking. That will be.
As I mentioned, in Haiti, shortly after the Kenyans began arriving, Haitian police started to move in. I'm not sure. I have this is not verified as to who exactly they have extracted, but this is from the Peytonville area, the Highlands, the more well-to-do part, as Chris has described to us multiple times. And Chris will be with us Friday, and we will be discussing all of this that we're talking about, we're touching on tonight. We'll get in depth on some of the most intense things. Friday night, that'll be at 9 o'clock. Tomorrow night, Thursday, I'll be on here about 8:45. We'll have our Liars Club debate watch party. That will start again about 8:45. The debate between Biden and Trump will start at 9 o'clock. Both of them are big old fat liars, and that's why I'm calling it the Liars Club debate. Come and watch and chat along, and if you so desire, we'll have some commentary as well. Putin was in North Korea last week, as we told you about on here, and they came to an agreement, as I said last week, that if one of them was involved in conflict, the other would come to their aid, a mutual assistance defense pact. Well, this is from Bricks News. North Korea says it's going to send troops to Ukraine to fight alongside Russia, and not only that, they will be there by next month. This is bizarre. New Jersey man charged with attempted murder. He flew from Florida. He flew to Florida from New Jersey, flew overnight to attack an online video game rival with a hammer. Edward Kang, pictured here, 20, allegedly took an overnight flight from Newark, New Jersey to Jacksonville. The victim's stepfather reported being awakened by screams for help. Kang snuck into the victim's house in Fernanda Beach, dressed in black with a mask and gloves at 2 a.m. on Sunday. Quote, when he went to see what was going on, he found his stepson on the ground struggling with the attacker who was in possession of a hammer. Sheriff reported that Kang got angry at the victim while playing the multiplayer game ArcheAge, told his mom he was visiting a friend in Florida and left. The victim suffered severe but not life-threatening head wounds, while Kang is being held at the Nassau County Jail on attempted murder and burglary charges. 2024. Craziness is definitely amongst us. Wait a minute, what did I do here? Okay, hang on. Bear with me for just a second here. I got us off track. Hang on. Again, thank you for clicking on. Thank you for being here. I clicked on the wrong button, and that's what happens when you are producing everything for yourself, but I have no one else to blame. Gosh, we've still got a lot of stuff to go, and I'm going to get through it all without taking too much of your time. Oh my gosh, I forgot about this too. Yes. Hang on, I'm almost there. Wow. All right, here we go. Back to where we're supposed to be. Again, thank you all for being here. Thank you for clicking on. Thank you for watching live if you're doing so. Hello to Not Going Away and anybody else that hops into the chat. And let's get back to what we were doing. Again, this guy flew from Newark, New Jersey to Jacksonville, Florida because he had a problem with somebody in an online game and attempted to murder them. Online becoming in real life. This I had never heard this. But allegedly Donald Trump ripped off Reese Witherspoon.
President Trump, he made the commencement speech.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then it turned out it bore quite a strong resemblance
Yeah.
to Elle's graduation speech.
Yeah.
In the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah. Was it Jimmy Fallon who found this out? I know it was all over the
I
internet.
don't know. It was, yeah, maybe it was on Jimmy's show.
If you haven't seen it, it's sort of unbelievable. We'll just show them the thing.
That we take our next steps into the world.
You must go forth into the world.
It is with passion, courage of conviction,
Courage in your convictions.
and strong sense of self.
Be true to yourself.
We did it!
I did it.
Oh, yeah. All right. Another little video clip here. This is some truth on Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas.
A billionaire named Harlan Crow is flying Clarence Thomas all over the world on unreported trips, like an Instagram model, taking Clarence to the Maldives and the beaches and all. Paid for his mama's house, this billionaire. Paid for Clarence Thomas' mama's house. I gotta give it up to billionaires. Billionaires, boy, y'all are relentless. Y'all always come up with something new to buy. Like, just when you think of everything you could buy on Earth, a billionaire will come up with a new thing. Y'all buy space rockets, you bought Twitter. This man bought a Supreme Court justice. Do you understand how rich you have to be to buy a black one on top of that? There's only 2 in stock. And Harlan Crow owns half the inventory. We can all see Clarence Thomas, but he belongs to billionaire Harlan Crow. And that's what an NFT is.
Oh, the truth can sometimes only be shared through comedy. All right, this is Fred Durst. Fred Durst probably should have stayed in his truck. This, I'm saying this is going to happen more and more and more and more and more and more and more. People that have always been treated as important and think they're important and have never had any consequences. The people are going to start getting consequences are going to start coming.
Do that again. I am sorry. Hold on. I didn't see it. Do that again. I didn't see it. Relax. I didn't see it. Don't fucking tell me. Relax. Don't tell me relax. You want to fuck around? You want to fuck around? You want to sleep? Come on.
So there we go. Fred Durst, little road rage led to an altercation. If we do not learn anything from that, do not fight people with motorcycle helmets on. Yeah, he's lucky he didn't get stomped out, honestly. We talked earlier, and I skimmed through it because of this. Talked about what was happening in Kenya yesterday. By the way, United States has recognized Kenya as their most important ally outside of NATO, is what Biden said of Kenya. And Kenya was implementing a tax plan based on the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, and the people of Kenya revolted. And their president today says, I concede, and announces he will not sign the unpopular finance bill that led to the protests in the streets and, unfortunately, the deaths of several of the protesters. This is a candidate for Congress. This is, and I bring this up because Lorraine Bobbitt won her primary yesterday in Colorado. She changed districts and somehow she won. So she's going to be running for she's going to be running to come back into Congress. And her arch nemesis on the Democrat side is probably AOC. And this is who's running against AOC.
Ready? Tick-tock, tick-tock. My hair color is naturally mousy brown. I dye it blonde and black. It's been my signature look for over 10 years. Okay, sometimes I cut my hair really short too during race season. I don't use Botox as I'm allergic to it. I use Dysport. I don't have lip fillers. This in my lip right here is a blood clot, thanks to COVID, but I will be having it removed soon, so you can wish me well in the comments. This rash that I don't hide on my neck, I don't hide it because I don't give a fuck. That's also from COVID. Okay? Maybe it's part of long haulers. I don't know. I don't care. Bothers you more than me. I love every single one of my tattoos because they all have a special meaning. I have natural immunity, which is antibodies. So no, I won't get the vaccine. They're real and they're spectacular. And my voice has been raspy since I've been a little kid. Fuck out of here.
Okay. We used to have class. We used to have standards. There used to be people that could not ever get consideration to be a candidate for a distinguished office. Our standards have plummeted as a country. How far so? Well, Ascension Catholic Church in Chesterfield, Missouri, is actively again a Catholic church, actively recruiting young men 18 to 29 to join their newly formed church militia. Chesterfield, Missouri has a crime rate of 0.71 per 100,000, or I'm sorry, per 1,000, compared to 4 to 100,000 or 4 to 1,000 nationally and 4.88 across Missouri as a whole. I've read the Bible several times. I've given messages from the Gospels particularly, and consider myself to be fairly well read as far as the philosophy of Jesus of Nazareth. And nowhere did he, no, it's not in the commandments. It's nowhere that you should start a militia. What has happened? What has happened to our country? What has happened to churches? What has happened to the true meaning of Christianity? Because we're not displaying any of them. Now, I mentioned the other day that the Jewish population was 0.2% of the world, and someone sent me this. 2% of the United States is Jewish. About 7 million in the United States, about 8 million in Israel, and those two countries make up, I believe, 90 to 95% of the Jewish population in the world. 66% of the current cabinet, 75% of all Ivy League presidents, 90% of Hollywood film studio CEOs, 83% of the world's richest tech CEOs, 55% of American billionaires, 63 top donors to the 2020 presidential campaigns, 90% of all presidential childs, the kids of the presidents, 90% of them have married a Jewish spouse. 40% of the accounts on that Elon Musk engages with on X, 31% of the White House staff, 75% of the NBA team owners, 100% of executive leadership at BlackRock. And it goes on. But interesting statistics, especially when you consider this. This is Menachem Begin. This was the prime minister of Israel when he said this in 1982. Our race is the master race. We are divine gods on this planet. In fact, compared to our race, other races are beasts and animals, cattle at best. Just something to think about. Bolivian military forcibly enters the presidential palace. It was a coup attempt. This was 7 hours ago. And The coup attempt has been thwarted. We'll touch on that coming up. Speaking of coup attempts, Trump says if he loses the 2024 election, he will try to do the same thing he did on January 6th. I honestly can't believe he said this. If he does go to trial in any of the 3 federal criminal cases that are still pending against him, remember the one state case has already been decided and he was guilty of 34 criminal felonies. Here's what he says.
I'm at 63 million. I was told if I get 63 million, we win easily. That there's no way. John McLaughlin told me, a lot of people told me that. But when they rig it or cheat, you know, there's not a lot you're going to do about that other than you have to stop it. Now we have to stop it second time. I'm at 63 million. I was told if I get 60.
Okay. He's trying to say that he was told if he got 63 million, he'd win. So he got 71 million. So there's no way he could lose. He probably believes that. It's asinine, but then again, consider the source. The most important thing is he says he was responsible for trying to stop it and he's going to have to do it again.
63 million, we win easily. That there's no way. John McLaughlin told me, a lot of people told me that. But when they rig it or cheat, you know, there's not a lot you're going to do about that other than you have to stop it. Now we have to stop it second time.
Second time, meaning he was trying to stop it the first time. It's pretty much an admission of guilt. Wow. Again, this is what was happening early today in Bolivia, and we pointed it out on the map to start things off. The entire story, the president of Bolivia, the duly elected, democratically elected president of Bolivia, fired a general yesterday. Today, the general, instead of cleaning out his office, ordered the army to attack the presidential palace in Bolivia. This is just absolutely crazy. This is the guy that was leading the coup. And again, he was summoned and dismissed yesterday after making disparaging remarks in a local newspaper article. Bolivia, by the way, has just signed an agreement to for preferred status with Russia. So if this does make the news, you may hear that the United States tried to orchestrate this coup to get rid of the president that was friendly with Russia. You know, as we've talked about on here, all of that's alleged. Local media in Bolivia reported elements of the military have initiated a coup attempt against the President Arce administration, and this looked like it was just going to explode. However, that's not what happened. The army got to the presidential palace, and basically the president told the army, look, this guy is trying to orchestrate a coup, and that led to eventually the general's arrest, and we'll get to that. This is just, I got to point this out. This is one of those, something to think about. Connect some dots here, folks. Put your thinking caps on, kids. WikiLeaks just deleted over 20,000 of the Democratic National Committee leaked documents. Assange gets a deal. He pleads guilty to one charge. He's released. He can stay in Australia unimpeded. And in exchange, all of the Democratic National Committee emails would be removed from WikiLeaks. They are still available. The underground's got it. So no worries. It's not like it's totally disappeared, but the main source has indeed vanished. Um, White House National Security spokesman John Kirby 7 hours ago urged American citizens in Lebanon to prepare to be evacuated. The Netherlands called their citizens to leave Lebanon as soon as possible as well. Of course, that goes along with Canada and Kuwait and numerous other countries that have told their citizens to get out of Lebanon because war is coming. The Israeli Defense Force decides to transfer forces from Gaza to Lebanon to prep for the potential war. IDF Northern Command is starting to train newly arrived forces. Israeli reserve forces held large-scale drills today to practice war scenarios. And senior IDF sources say Israel will need to take very powerful military action in Lebanon. Again, fighting against Hezbollah is not going to be like fighting against Hamas. And it's taken a long time for Israel to get through all of Gaza to where they are now in Rafah. Defense Minister Gallant's trip to Washington is part of a wide-ranging Israeli steps to ensure readiness for a large-scale conflict in case the last-minute diplomatic efforts to avert war fail. And I don't think there's going to be. I don't think the diplomatic efforts. I don't know how hard anybody's trying diplomatically. I'll put it that way. And when you look at this is the Israeli military preparing to go into Lebanon. They are at the northern end of Israel, as you can see, lined up and prepared. We've mentioned earlier in the broadcast they have warehouses where they have stockpiled food. They're trying to work it out with Elon Musk to have a Starlink feed for necessary government and military officials in case their power grid goes down. We've had clips on here before from Israel saying that if the power grid goes down, Israel won't survive 72 hours without collapse. So again, I can't emphasize how tenuous things are through so many different places in the world. Now, this next comes from American Doofus channel on YouTube, here on Twitter. A familiar face faces charges. This is Tommy Tatum. Tommy Tatum is an incredibly narcissistic, self-important, privileged, condescending, horrible person. And yeah, he talked crap about me and about the channel. He talked crap about anybody and everybody that isn't a 100% Trump sycophant. So today, Tommy Tatum was arrested for his actions on January 6th. And he has bragged repeatedly online. And it's not something that you necessarily celebrate, but it's one of those, wow, maybe there is karma. Maybe people that are just not good people, eventually it comes back to them. This is what the actual document from the United States Attorney's Office, the District of Columbia. This is the press release regarding said arrest. Mississippi man arrested today on felony and misdemeanor charges. Thomas Eugene Tatum of Greenville, Mississippi, is charged in a criminal complaint filed in the District of Columbia. The FBI arrested Tatum today in Oxford, Mississippi, made his initial appearance in the Northern District of Mississippi court today. Alleged that Tatum was identified on the Lower West Plaza of the Capitol. Lower West Plaza of the Capitol grounds shortly before 2:30 p.m. on January 6th. Tatum seen on police body-worn camera footage reportedly berating and taunting police officers of both the Capitol and Metropolitan Forces as they tried to keep rioters from advancing on the U.S. Capitol building. Documents say that throughout this period, Tatum can be seen in video footage face-to-face with uniformed officers, and at various times placing himself in front of the crowd of rioters, and while at or near the front of the advancing rioters, Tatum can be heard urging the fellow rioters to take officers' helmets, take their weapons, and take their heads. Court documents state that as Tatum and the rioters advance, Tatum can also be seen pointing a flagpole he was carrying at officers, which we've seen photos of that, which contributed to the retreat. Now, here's the interesting part. Open source footage shows that after police retreated, Tatum later appeared further inside the restricted areas, going from the Lower West Plaza to the Lower West Terrace. After making his way to the Lower West Terrace, Tatum can be seen in open source video footage joining a large crowd of rioters seeking to enter the Capitol building via the tunnel entrance, and this is at about 4:15. Open source footage. All right. That's why, people are still being arrested for January 6th, obviously. We're talking about one right now. He wasn't the only one arrested today. There were two other Proud Boys arrested today. There are a lot of people around the country that have been looking over their shoulders, and maybe a lot of them have thought, okay, well, it's been long enough. No. Open source footage. Okay, the Republican congressman decided they were going to release all of the footage, all of the closed circuit footage, all of the footage from January 6th, because they thought it would convince the public that it wasn't violent. Well, what they did was they exposed a whole bunch of people that hadn't been exposed before. They exposed their faces, they exposed their actions, they exposed their locations, and now there's a whole new group of people that are being tracked down. Again, thanks to the Republican congressman for making sure all that footage got out there. And if you don't believe me, that's okay. You don't have to, but I'm telling you the truth, and you can look it up and check yourself. But Tommy Tatum joins the list. And this guy was so notorious that nasty songs were written about him. Funny songs. Again, the president of Bolivia stated during a press conference that General Zuniga had been arrested by his own troops after they realized he was conducting a coup against the government. And he swore in these three gentlemen as the new leaders of the Bolivian military. 6 hours ago, Israel had an airstrike in Damascus, Syria. So Israel is currently attacking Syria. They bombed southern Lebanon today, and they bombed Gaza today. So basically, Israel is currently in direct conflict with three separate countries, if you consider Palestine a country, and the number of allies Israel has is shrinking. I bring that up because I've got something to show you here in a couple of seconds after we show you this. I talked about how Israel has set up warehouses and has prepared for what is coming. Here's a look inside one of those warehouses.
פיקוד העורף לוקח חבילה כזאת, החיילים, על פי ההנחיה, משרד הכלכלה, משרד הביטחון, ופשוט מעביר אותם לבתים. נכון. בואו נראה מה שפנים. זה המערב.
What he's showing is what's going to happen if you cannot get out of your house to pick up supplies. The supplies will be delivered to you by the government. They are already prepackaged in the boxes, and they are showing what's contained in each box. This has all been pre-planned. They've known, Israel has known that the war was not going to stop with Gaza, and they're prepared. And I think we in the rest of the world ought to realize what's going on. Israel sets up massive emergency warehouses for wartime food supplies. Packages containing food for 72 hours for a family of 4 will be delivered by the Israeli Defense Forces unable to leave home in case of war with Hezbollah. So awful lot of preparation for nothing to happen. All right, we showed you footage earlier of the troops running towards the presidential palace in Bolivia. An incredible scene today. A coup that lasted about 45 minutes. I don't want to copy the video address. Come on. Okay, I don't want to do that. There we go. I just want to hit play. All right, here we go. These are the pro-democracy, pro-presidential protesters, basically chasing the troops back to their bases. So at the moment, there is peace and calm in Bolivia, but there is a significant presence in La Paz, the capital. This was the Bolivian general. He got arrested live on TV, and just a reminder that, you know, if you try to take the king out, you better make sure you don't miss. And it's the same when you're trying to have a coup and take a president out. Well, if you're leading a coup, the guy's been charged with treason, starting a rebellion, terrorism, and I don't remember what the other thing was, but nonetheless, the president of Bolivia comes out and tells the Bolivian people that the coup was thwarted, and Bolivia will try to remain as stable as possible. So this is what I wanted to get to from when I said the fact that the number of Israeli allies is dwindling. Where's it at as far as who can Israel actually count on? Let's listen to Israel.
Dear friends, the powerful and enduring bond between the United States and Israel is key to our nation's strategy and our security. Since Hamas' brutal attack, the United States has stood by Israel. This includes working together in facing the Iranian assault mid-April. We appreciate the support we have received, both overt and covert. It reinforces our shared commitments and reflects a simple truth. Our nations are tied by shared interest and, more importantly, values. I'm standing here in Washington as Israel's Minister of Defense to say the following. in every family. And we consider the American people as our family.
But do they really? After what we saw, what Menachem Begin said? Or is it just the disproportionate number of Jewish members of administrations and governments and important entities?
Disagreement may arise, yet, like all families, we discuss our disagreements in-house and remain united. Looking at the future, we stand firmly behind the president's deal, which Israel has accepted, and now Hamas must accept or bear the consequences. We are committed to bringing the hostages home, with no exception. We are committed to defending our people. But let it be known that our war is not with the people of Gaza. Our war is not with the people of Lebanon. Our war is against Hamas, against Hezbollah, and their backers, the Iranian regime. We are committed, and I am personally committed, to facilitating the delivery of essential humanitarian aid to Gaza. We only fight those who seek to harm us. Together, let's move forward with strength and compassion.
So there we go. That's the Israeli message to us here in the United States. Propaganda, whatever term you want to use, that is the official Israeli stance. And the significant thing about that is that he indeed ties the United States and Israel together. So whatever happens is we've had a target on our back for our support of Israel for such a long time, and this guy just made certain that it will remain. Propaganda balloons sent to southern Lebanon earlier this afternoon. Those balloons had these tags on them, and these tags say the land of Israel belongs to the Jews. You are required to vacate it immediately, end quote. So to me, it sounds like, maybe the war is with the people of Gaza. Maybe it is with the people of Lebanon. Maybe this is just a giant, massive genocidal land grab. I don't know. Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for clicking on. Thanks for watching. Greatly appreciate all of you. And we will be on tomorrow night, again, starting at about 8:45 with the Liars Club debate, the debate between Biden and Trump, both of them big fat liars. That's why I'm calling it the Liars Club debate. And we'll be covering that. Have a watch party. You can hop in the chat. We'll give some commentary on things that are going on, and we will have some fun. Then Chris will be with us Friday, probably at 9. It may not be until 10, depending on what happens earlier Friday evening. But we'll be discussing all of this and more. And again, I thank all of you for being here. Wish you absolutely nothing but blessings and peace. And remember, it's a dark world. Do try to be a light. Spread the love. Spread the positivity. It's tough. It's tough. Especially with all the stuff we've been talking about tonight. But if we're aware of it, we can deal with it better than getting smacked in the back of the head and not knowing it's coming. So, again, thank you for watching. Love y'all like chocolate chip cookies. It is a dark world. Do try to be a light. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the share. We'll see you tomorrow night.